Welcome to this tutorial today, and I'm glad to have you on board. Today we're going to discuss about functions in JavaScript, one of the most interesting and exciting part of JavaScript programming that each and every web developer should be able to know, of how to create a function and how to apply a function in a real life situation. Why do we learn functions? Because you realize most of the time you have got a certain piece of your program and you want that particular program to perform a certain task, and therefore it happens that you need to make sure that you group the statements that can help you to execute that task into one group. And therefore, in order for you to group such kind of statement, then function is the best friend you can ever have to be able to execute that particular task. Now in this particular case, we are going to discuss about the definition of the word function, and then we are also going to look at function calls. How do you call a function? And then we are also going to look at different examples of how you can be able to do maybe the recursion. Okay, and then by the end of this particular lesson, on this particular session, you are also going to be able to look at some of the exciting examples of how you can be able to apply JavaScript in a real life example or in a real life situation. So stay tuned up to the end for you to be able to know how to use function. Without wasting time, let's dive in. Now the first part that we need to look at, what is function? A function basically is a group of statements, a JavaScript statements that are meant to perform a designated task. I think I've already explained that at the beginning, just to explain that in this particular case there is that aspect of grouping of JavaScript statement. If these statements are meant to help us to achieve a certain goal, then there is need for you to be able to do the grouping. Now another very important role of function is that a function can be able to determine how many times a certain code block is supposed to run. So it determines how many times a certain code block is supposed to run. So if it is 5 times, then you can be able to tell through use of that particular function. Now the syntax of function is very simple. You need to start with the keyword called function, then followed by the function name. The function name basically is a name that you have given it to that function. So in case you're dealing with calculating of the area, you give it a name that is related to that particular event. And then the arguments, these are the variables that are used within the function. Then you need to have the opening curly bracket and the closing curly bracket, so that you can be able to enclose the JavaScript statements, or you can be able to enclose those JavaScript statements that are meant to perform a specific task together. So those are some of the areas or some of the parts of a function in this particular case. Now the next thing that we need to talk about is calling a function. When you call a function, basically it means that you want now it to perform a certain role, so you need to call it. You have what you call function definition. When you talk about function definition, you are defining the role that particular function is supposed to play. Then you have what we call function declaration. When you talk about function declaration, you mean that is the initial step of creating a function. Then the last thing that you need to do as a programmer is to call that function, so that it can be able to perform that role that it was meant to do. Now in JavaScript, we have got 3 ways of function call. The first one is what you call when the browser passes the script tag. So the moment the web browser processes the script tag, then that is where you can be able to place your function call. We are going to see an example. Then after that, we have got after the page is loaded, just before the end, just before the end of the body tag, just before the closing body tag, that is where you can be able to place your HTML, your JavaScript. Then finally, in response of an event when the mouse has been clicked. Now talking of when the script tag is passed, here we have an example of a function call in that particular manner. So we have got a function called display greetings. This is what we call function definition. So we have done the function definition, whereby we have said that if the current time or the current hour is less than 12, can you be able to display good morning? if the current hour is greater than that, can you be able to display good day? And now for me to be able to use this function that I've just defined, I need to have the function call just before the end of the head tag. You can see here we have the function call. This is a function call. Yeah. So this is the when the page has been when the script tag has been passed. Yeah. You have the function call after the script tag has been passed. Okay. Now the second one is after the web page has been loaded. Yeah. After the page has been loaded. So here we have got the page. Yeah. We have got the page. This is our page. We have done the function definition in the head tags. Yeah. So we have been able to say that this function is meant to make the background red. So the moment I've done the definition here, after just in the body section, just before the closing body tag, I'm placing my script tag there. Yeah, I'm pressing my function call there. So the body, it will be able to process other HTML elements, and then when it reaches just before the closing body tag, then there I have been able to position my function call. And the last one is that when you have got an event, or when you have an event. So for example, in this particular case, we have got an event whereby when the button is clicked, the background color is supposed to change. So we have done the definition of those two events, whereby we are saying that when the first button is clicked, it makes the background red. When the second button is clicked, it makes the background white. So these are the function definitions. We have been able to define the style on the background, which is red, and then here we have defined the background to be white. And then here we are having now the implementation of it. Now we are saying the button on click, it is going to call this function make background red. So when this function has been clicked, or when this button has been clicked, this function call is going to take place in response of that event. Yeah. So this is just but an example of how you can be able to call a function when an event occurs. Yeah. Now, sometimes you can be able to pass single values, or sometimes you can be able to pass multiple values. Now in this case, we are having a function definition here whereby we want to change the background color, and then we are passing an argument of new color. So we said an argument is like a variable in the function. Now we are saying that when this particular function is when we are defining this function, we are giving it a background of new color. Remember, this is a variable, and we say that a variable is a memory location. Okay, a small chunk of memory that is used to hold a value, a program data. Yeah. So in this particular case, we are giving that variable name new color. So in this particular new color, it is just but a name that you have given to that memory location. We have preserved that particular memory location for our program data. Now, when we have done that definition here, in the button, remember we have talked about this type of function call. This is what we call in response of an event. Now, when a button is clicked, automatically the first one, it is going to tell us that can you be able to pass red? Can you be able to pass red to that function? So we are passing red color to that function. Now it will be able, when I click on that button, red, it is going to be passed to my function. And the moment it is passed to my function, it is going to change the background color to red. Yeah. Then after that, it's also going to be applied to white. So when I want maybe the white color, okay, I want to change it to white color, the background to be the white color, then it is going to pass, or it's going to move, or it's going to pass that color to the function I've just been able to define at the top there. Yeah. Now it is also possible for you to pass multiple values, so it just depends with the parameters that you want. So in case here I want just to change the background color and also change the foreground color. So in this case, I'm defining two colors. I'm creating two variables, that is the new back color and the new fore color, and then I'm also be able to define those particular variables here. And here I'm coming to do what we call the function call, and I'm passing two arguments or two parameters inside there, the red and white, and then the other side is white and red. So in this particular case, it is going to work with the variable or the values that have been able to give in this particular function. Yeah, like that. Now, returning values. So sometimes, apart from one of the two advantages that we have been able to look at JavaScript function is that it can allow you to control when the code is executed, and also it can be able to help us to use the consolidated repetitive code into a single routine. So you can be able to group them together, those that are supposed to be repetitively used. Now, but something else comes out very strongly in JavaScript function, that with JavaScript function, it allows you to perform calculation and then return the results. Yeah, so that's very important. So you can as well be able to do some calculation. Now down here we have got a calculation, an example of returning value from a function. Okay, so I'm defining a function, or I'm declaring a function called pretip total, which is 100, and then you have another variable called tip percentage, which is 0.15. Yeah, then you're saying that function calculate tip, and then I'm passing two variable, two arguments, that is pretip, which is 100, and then I'm passing also the percentage, which is 0.15. Okay, and then when I pass that, I'm coming here to do the multiplication between the pretip and the tip percentage. The answer that I get here, I'm going to assign it to tip result. The answer that I get here, I'm going to assign it to tip result, and then the tip result is going to return. You can see the word return. So return the result, tip result. Yeah. So when I run this function, the ultimate point or the ultimate goal will be to return the tip result. Okay. Now when I go out of that particular function, I'm going to have a function call. Here is a function call. I'm calling that function and passing two parameters in there. Okay, I'm passing two parameters in there. Okay, so we have got the parameter pretip total, and then we have got a parameter, the parameter tip percentage. Now I'm saying that variable total bill. Okay, and then I'm saying that we are going to assign the total that you have gotten from the pretip total plus the tip cost. Okay, so where is the tip cost? The tip cost is here. After we have done calculate tip, okay, then we are passing two parameters or two arguments. After we have calculated this, or after we have done this particular calculation here, we are going to assign that value to tip cost. After we have done that, we are coming to the second side. We are taking the tip cost that you have gotten at the top here plus the pretip total. We are going to assign the new total to total bill. Now, whatever we are going to display in our log in the console, whatever we are going to display in the log in our console, it is the total bill in this case, which is going to start with the $sign. Okay, so this is just to tell you that we can be able to use the JavaScript function to be able to return a value by using the word return. Okay, so that one I think is well understood. Now with JavaScript, there are two scopes that you need to know. JavaScript function has got two scopes. We have what you call the local scope, which is called the function level, and then we have the global scope, which you call the page level. Now I'll explain these two terminologies. When you talk about the local scope, it means that the function is used within the variable is used within the function block. Then we talk about the global scope. The variable is used outside the function blocks. So it means that that particular variable can be used anywhere in your program or in your page. Now I'll just give an example. We have the first example of the local scope. Now this is a function called myMessage has been declared inside the function A, and therefore when I want to use it outside or when I want to use it in another function, it is not going to allow me to use it. Why? Because it is meant to be used within this function block only. It cannot be used outside this function block. Now when you talk about the function block will display an error message. So I've already explained to you what will happen, because if it has not been defined within that particular function block, then it cannot be used, and therefore it will give you undefined error. Okay. Now when you talk about global scope, when you put something, a function to be, or you put a variable to be on a global scope, it means that it can be accessed anywhere in that particular program. So any function can be able to access that particular program, that particular variable. Yeah. So in this case, you can see that the function C, it is going to have that I have got a global scope. Then this the same outside the function, you also be able to display the same message, because it is a global scope. Now the last thing that you want to discuss about in this particular part before we do some exercise is that we have got the ability of a function to execute itself. A function can be able to execute itself. Yeah. So why do we do this? It's because sometimes we have said earlier that one of the advantages of using function is that you can be able to determine how many times a function can be able to execute a certain task, and therefore in this case you can be able to do this by using what you call a recursive function. So a recursive function means that a function calls itself, or a function can execute itself. So how do you execute a function inside another function? So this is what you call the syntax of a recursive function. So the name of this function is called recursive func. Okay, and then inside that same function we are having a function called what? Recursive func. So the same name has been used twice. The first one was function definition, but the second one is function call, but inside the first function. Remember, we have started talking about function calls. We never said that that function is going to be used in that particular function. No, we have always said that a function is supposed to be used either in the either when the script tag has been passed. We have also said that after the page has been loaded, or when you respond to a certain event. But in this case, this particular function call is happening inside that particular function. That is what we call the recursive nature of it. Now, when you talk about the recursion function, it has got three parts. It has what we call the function definition. I've already explained that. So we say that function recursive func, that is what we call the function definition. Yeah. Then we have the base condition. The base condition means that that particular function will not run infinitely. Okay, so the base condition will help us to determine how many times, or at that particular, it determines when that particular function will stop to recursively, or is going to stop to execute. That is the main role of the base condition, determining how many, or determining when that particular function is meant to stop. Okay, and then we have now the recursive function embedded inside there. Now we have an example here, and then I'm going to use this example to explain what recursive function is all about. Now we have got the keyword function, and then we are creating a function called do something, and then in do something, this is the name of the function. Inside that we are giving it an argument called n. Yeah. Now inside that particular function, we are opening the curly bracket, which means the beginning of a function. Now down here we have what we call the base condition. Okay, so this is our base condition. Now what are we saying in this particular base condition? We're saying that if n is equal to 0, then log in the console task completed. Okay, what will happen? That if n is equal to 0, then can you be able to say task is completed? Okay, now we are having the return here, so this is just to tell that give us an output. Now if in case n is not equal to 0, then console log in the console that I'm doing something. Log in the console that I am doing something. Now here we are saying do something n minus 1. So why are we doing n minus 1? Is that we want to move close, we want to move to the base condition. So we are going to reduce by 1 by 1 by 1 until we move to the base condition where the program is supposed to stop. Now do something into bracket 3. It is what we call our initial function call. So in the first case it will be 3 minus 1. Okay, so you will get 2, then 2 minus 1 you will get 1, then 1 minus 1 you will get 0, and that is when the program will stop. So this particular program is meant to execute 3 statements that I am doing something, and then the 4th statement is supposed to be task completed. Okay, so this is basically how a recursive function look like. Make sure you have the base condition, and the base condition you have just said that it is just meant to ensure that you know exactly how many times or when that particular function is supposed to stop. And why do we do this? Is to avoid what we call infinite looping or infinite running of the program. Okay, now those are some of the areas that we can be able to go through in JavaScript functions. And here we have got an exercise that can help you to boost your understanding. That write a function to calculate the area of the rectangle, create a function that takes a string as an argument and return the recursive return the reversed string, and then finally build a function that checks if a number is prime using the function. So pause the video and do that exercise. Alright, so we can be able to give it a trial here and then see how it is going to work. Remember, we have got the JavaScript HTML, and in JavaScript HTML I've also been able to add just the link. I've just added the link. This is my external JavaScript file, and this is my HTML JavaScript .html. So this is my HTML file, this is my JavaScript file. I'm using the external file. So in order for, if you are new in this particular tutorial, basically you can just create 2 files. We have HTML file, and then you have JavaScript file, and then you can go to use this particular file, this particular link, so that you can join them, these 2 particular files together. So you can just be able to look at it, and then you can be able to do it on your end. Now in this case I just want to write the first program, that is write a function to calculate the area of a rectangle. So you know very well that the area of the rectangle is length times width. So I'm just going to say calc rect, okay, or you can just say calc area, and then you pass the arguments. So I'm going to pass the arguments there, that is length and width. Okay, and then we can just say that return length times width. Okay, return length times width, like that. And then you can as well be able to say, maybe we can give it an example to check if what we have done is correct. So you can just say that let area calc area, and then we can now pass the values that we want. Maybe we can say 20, and then you can say 10. So those are the values that we want to test if it will give us the output, and then we can just display the results in the console log, in the log of the on the console. So you can just say console.log, and then you can just say that area is, okay, then you can just say area, like that. Okay, So when I save this, and then I just refresh this page, and then I go to my console. Remember, I'm using my console, so I'll just right click and then I go to inspect, and then when you click on inspect, it's going to display this part, and then you can just go to console, and then you can see that the area is 200. So it means that my program is giving me the correct feedback. Okay, then we move to the next question. They're saying that create a function that takes the string as an argument and returns the reversed string. So you just say function, then you say reversed, maybe you can just say reverse string. Okay, function reverse string, and then you can just put an argument like string str, and then you can just say that we have return. So what that function is supposed to do, return str dot, first of all you split that function or that particular string, and then you put the single quotes inside there, and then you have got a dot, also a dot, and then you reverse now the characters. So we have the function called reverse, and then after you have done the reverse, you join. After you have done that, you join that particular function like that. Then you can just give it an example, like you can say that you can just say let reversed, and just say let reversed equal to, then you can give it you can call that function reverse string. This function here, we are calling the function reverse string. Then we put the function that we want. We put the function that we want. We put the argument there that we want it to be reversed, and in this word we want to reverse the word JavaScript. Okay, and then we are going to say console.log. We say there reversed string is, and just say reversed string is like that. Remember, this is supposed to start with the opening double quotation, and then you can also have the closing double quotation there, and then you can just say plus reversed. Good, like that. So what I've done here, I've done what we call the function call. I'm calling this function here. You can see this function is here, so I'm calling it here, and I'm passing the values JavaScript. Okay, I'm passing this particular argument JavaScript in this case. Now JavaScript will be able to undergo this process. First of all, it will be split. After being split, it will be reversed, and after being reversed, that particular words are going to be joined together. Now if I close my, okay, I don't know if it is having a closing. Okay, I think that is it. I think it's okay. Let me just save this, and then let me try to refresh this part and see if it's going to give me the reversed. Good, very good. It has given me the reversed version of JavaScript, starting from the word T, and then you're having that being going up to that particular point. And then finally, the last one is that we are supposed to use JavaScript to check if a number is prime, and using functions. So when a number is prime, when it is divisible by 1 and itself. Okay, so we are going to check if a number is prime. So we are going to write a program. We are saying that function, you're going to say function is prime. You can use the function name is prime. Okay, then we can give our argument to be num. Okay, our function to be our argument name to be num, and then we are saying that if num is less than or equal to 1, if num is less than or equal to 1, then can you return false. Okay, so if it's less than or equal to 1, then return false, like that. Otherwise, if it is not less than or equal to 1, now can you be able to move? We say that for, I just say let I is equal to 2 when I is less than num. Okay, then you can say that I plus plus. Then we can be able now to return. You can just say that if num is modulus 2, if num modulus 2, or if num modulus I is equal to 0, if num modulus 2 is modulus I is equal to 0, then can you be able to return false? Now, why are we saying modulus 2? If a number is divisible by 2, that is not a prime number. Give us a false. That's what we are saying in this case. But in case it is not divisible by 2, you are supposed to do what? To help us to return what? True. So you are supposed to return true. There. Return true. So remember this particular part, we are just checking the condition. We are just trying to check the number that you have been given, the num that you have been given, and then we are saying that let I is equal to 2. That is the initial value that you are going to start from, and then we are having the num that you have been given, and then I plus plus. So okay, so we are going to say that if that particular number that you have been given is divisible by 2, okay, can you return false? Otherwise, return true. And see where I'm putting my return true. It is outside the for loop. This is the end of the for loop, and then I'm putting that particular return true outside the for loop. Okay, I've been able to tie it every error whatsoever. So if a number is less than or equal to 1, then return false. If a number is divisible by 2, return false. Otherwise, that number is a prime number. That's what exactly we are saying in this case. Now the last thing that I want to do, maybe I can have an example down here. We can just say if num is 7, we can say if num is 7, and then we can just say that if is prime, if is prime, so I'm calling that function if is prime into bracket num. Okay, so we are saying that console.log, then you can be able now to output the num plus, okay, opening double quotation, and then you can say num is prime, is a prime number, like that. Okay, so we have said that if is prime, so is prime is our function call, is our function name, and then we are saying that we pass that number that we have been given. So in this case it's going to pass number 7. So the moment I pass in number 7, it is going to my function starting from this point, checking all these conditions that I've set here. I'm checking all these conditions that I've set here. Once all these conditions, maybe this one is false, this one is false, or maybe in one or another it is true. For this case it is not less than 1, and then it is true that it's not divisible by 2, then it is going to give me an output, and then it is going to say 7 is a prime number. Okay, that's exactly what is happening. Else you are going to display the following, that else you're supposed to say console.log num plus, okay, num plus, and then you have those double quotation, and then you say is not a prime number. It's not a prime number, like that. Good. So you can see that is it, what is happening in this particular case. Yeah, so checking the conditions, checking if the condition is being met in the first case. If the number is less than 1 or equal to 1, say it's false. Okay, that is not a prime number. Then you can be able to say that if a number is divisible by 2, that is false. Otherwise, that number is a prime number. Then you have the function call here, and then you pass the number that you want to check, and then you can be able to check the response. Now let's go to our browser and check if there is going to give us an output. Boom, there we have it. It is saying that 7 is a prime number, and it is true. 7 is a prime number. Yeah. So this is how you can be able to execute the 3 tasks or 3 activities under function, just to test your energy and your power, if you can be able to write these JavaScript programs. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel to support me. Also, you can turn the notification button on. When I create other exciting JavaScript tutorials, you'll be notified. Thank you so much, and bye bye.